flirty?
Oh, it's okay. I'm a man. It's acceptable.
All right. Well, welcome to the Nation podcast. My name is Eric Thurow.
Tom Jones.
John Kahermanes.
And John is a guest joining us this week. He has a fan. We also know that we're also on live stream at our Periscope channel, periscope.tv/Ninth Man Nation. So it's at Ninth Man Nation. It's linked to your Twitter feed. If you're following us on Twitter at Ninth Man Nation, you should probably got the notice that we're going. So this week on the episode of The Nation, we're going to be discussing basically the fan experience from our guest John here, who's hailing from Santa Cruz. Of course, right now we're from San Jose, if you didn't hear us from last week. And basically, we're going to be discussing with a little more SaberCat fans first, but as we grow as a show, we'll be expanding to other teams. We'll start regionally, like with Southern California, and reaching out to Phoenix and Portland fans as well. But we're taking this slowly. We want to try to get the things going well. So we're going to do the fan experience on what John's experience was for the league and how he got involved in becoming a fan of the Arena Football League in general. And then we are going to talk about the 8-team league that's broken down. Their schedule just recently came out. And then we're going to talk about Commissioner Butera. He's had 1 year under his belt as commissioner in the league. We're going to do some thoughts on that. And then talk about the 2016 schedule and some possible road trips that we're going to go, that at least Tom and I are going to go and represent the nation and get some fan feedback personally when we come out there to your city and meet you at your games. So go ahead, let's start with John. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is John Kahermanes from Santa Cruz, California. Been a SaberCats fan since 1995. First year I went all by myself. Couldn't even get anybody to go to the game with me. My brother went to one game with me. After the first season, I moved my seats down from the nosebleed section to a 50-yard line or 25-yard line view, right behind the broadcasters at the Cats Lair in San Jose, California, and sat there for the remaining 19 seasons of the SaberCats. Could never get anybody to go with me the first year. Second year, my partner Christine joined us, and couldn't get rid of her the rest of the time. She was with me every time.
That's good.
That's good.
Not a football fan ever. She's English and likes soccer, and now she's a dedicated SaberCats fan.
Soccer. So she was. Oh, soccer is the real football.
Football. Yeah, a little different kind of football.
A little bit different kind of football.
So.
Yeah, there's speculation. I had some friends back east. They say, oh, well, soccer is supposed to be football because you actually use your feet and you can't use your hands. And they say our North American football that we play with, like the NFL and even the Canadian Football League and AFL, that's not football. That's hand egg because the shape of the ball looks like an egg.
Yeah, but at least, if you use the foot against the ball at any time, it's a big part of it, right?
Yeah, it's a football.
Yes.
Oh, and if you're wondering why, you'll see some people where we are here broadcasting live on Periscope from our hangout, the Blue Water Seafood and Crab.
Blue Water Seafood and Crab, shout out!
It's a former sponsor for the San Jose SaberCats, so we got that going for us, and we're here again. We'll probably be hanging out at different spots throughout our different episodes as we make arrangements with local businesses here. So, anything further to discuss?
Well, as far as there's a whole lot of stuff going on, good and bad, in the Arena League, and it's kind of ironic how we're starting this podcast knowing that the SaberCats are temporarily out of existence. So I'm confident that they're going to come back in 2017. Just not enough time to throw new ownership involved. As you know, in the past, San Jose has been a very good contributor to the league, and I think the survival of the league long term depends on strong cities like Arizona, who's been around for a while. Florida. There's no doubt that Florida has been a good part of the Arena Football League for such a long time. I honestly
think Florida is like the king of the league. With the way that the Tampa Bay Storm, for MX, wasn't really successful record-wise as far as for the playoffs this past season, but they surpassed over 100,000 in attendance, and I think
they're always strong. In Florida, they're always strong attendance-wise and support-wise, and I was just talking to Eric the other day and stuff. Wouldn't it be a riot? Wouldn't it be great to go to a Predators Storm game?
The war on I-4.
Yeah, I mean,
which is now taken over as the main arch rival game in the AFL. Before it was the Rattlers versus SaberCats.
Yeah.
Even though you could say that Orlando and Tampa Bay are, the original teams before both the Rattlers and SaberCats existed, but
But see, now last year, Eric and I went to Portland, and I'm telling you, Portland, for only having a team for the last couple of years, man, you felt that dedication from the fans, and they welcomed us. We were the rivals. They welcomed us, and they brought us into their family and stuff and everything. And now we're actually some good friends with some of the people there in Portland and stuff. So I see Portland as being, loving their football.
Yeah.
And of course, Seattle. Everybody in Seattle liked the Shock.
You mean Spokane? Spokane Shock?
Yeah. Unfortunately, sorry about Spokane. You always think, whenever you think of Spokane, you always think Seattle because it's so close to there, and the NFL influence that they have there and everything. But it's good to actually see somebody other than Seattle in the state of Washington having such a big
following,
influence.
Yeah, my thing is with Portland, they were really, like you said, we're really hospitable. We just barely walked up, from getting our rental car and coming from the airport. So, Tom and I were a little bit fatigued, from the game, and at the same time had a little bit of adrenaline pumping, going to the Moda Center, trying to make sure we got there. Because, it's my first time in Oregon, period. And their fans are great. They're even reflecting back before Portland Thunder. They're reflecting back to the Portland Forest Dragons that were there beforehand. And they just say, man, we hope this is not like another Forest Dragon event where we're here for a few years and then we're gone. We hope, and we had to, as far as what I knew and maybe what Tom knew, that we knew that Emirates, who owns the Thunder, is into the league for a long-term stay. He's not just another sale-by-night owner. So he's committed. And so it's wondering that, Tom and I went to, Portland last year, John, and then we also went to Anaheim for the LA Kiss game. His first time down there, my second time down there for the 2 years the Kiss have been involved. What do you think of the possibility of you going to a road game maybe even next year, even though the SaberCats are not involved, and going to the games?
On a weekend trip, I'm looking forward to maybe hitting an LA Kiss game this year, possibly an Arizona game this year. And I'd probably be interested in the War on I-4 game, too.
Oh, yeah.
If my schedule allowed me to travel. I go there, I wouldn't going to go for 2 days. I want to go to a couple, 3 or 4 extra days.
Yeah.
Spend some time in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah, see, originally Tom and I were discussing going to either Tampa or Orlando, maybe more Orlando. I do have a friend that stays out there in Lakeland, which is sort of like right in the middle on I-4 between Orlando and Tampa. And he actually was out here in San Jose because he played for the so-called, the non-nameless San Jose Wolves, that were here for that 1 year for 2010, and he played for him. But besides the league and the team, trying to imitate and trying to take over the SaberCats domain for that 1 year, him personally and some of the other players on the Wolves are great people. We met them; they're great people. Especially this guy Antonio Cersei. We've become really good friends. He's out there in Lakeland doing his thing right now.
Didn't they play in Stockton for like the 1 or 2 years?
They played in Stockton the second year. And then they folded because the owner did some things legally, got in trouble. So basically, my thing is, I was actually getting ready to call my buddy Antonio in Florida. Say, hey, my buddy Tom and I don't think you met Tom, but my buddy Tom and I are planning to make a trek out there. Now, this past week while at work, I was thinking, maybe since we're just getting this thing launched, last time, maybe we should just hold back. We know that it's a classic, rivalry between the two teams, but maybe we should just hold back and just stick and concentrate. If we're going to go on the road trips,
West Coast,
stay on the West Coast. And initially we're going to go to 4 games and keep the 4-game promise up, quota. But now I'm thinking even the last game that I have Cleveland Gladiators at the LA Kiss towards the end of the season, I think like July 16th or something like that. Let's not even do that game, because that way we could say we hit every single. We hit Anaheim, we hit Phoenix, and then we hit Portland. So we hit all 3 games, all 3 of the West Coast teams, even though they moved Cleveland into the National Conference now to equal out, so it's 4 teams in each of the conferences, so it's equal now. Even though when they do the playoff seeds, the conferences don't mean anything, and we'll get to the playoff seeds in a little bit. So I'm thinking, okay, let's just do the 3 teams in the West Coast, at least in our time zone, and then on the 4th game, we can have that as being budgeted for wherever the Reno Bowl may or may not be. So it's like if the Reno Bowl is in Phoenix, fine, it's in Phoenix. If it's in Arizona, if it's in Portland, it's in Portland. But if it happens to be like in Cleveland or Philadelphia or Tampa, Jacksonville, Orlando, if it's in one of the East Coast cities, then that way we could have not gone to 4 games in the regular season.
We can kind of budget,
but then still have the money-wise and budget to going towards that at the end of the season, and that's the longest way. Now, as far as for me, just last night, as we're recording this on Saturday, the 12th, just last night, I had my what's called work bid. We had the bid for my work schedule coming up the next month, and once a year, at the end of the year, like in December right now, we do what's called a general sign-up, to where we not only do our bids for our work assignments for the next 3 months, but we also do vacation bids. We schedule our week off for our vacation throughout the whole year. And I get 3 weeks next year, and I planned already 1 week. The first week I took off was for the first game that Tom and I go, which we'll discuss later on when we get down to the road trips and talk about that. So I'm already set on my part as far as for me committed to going these road trips. So, the thing is, we're excited to meet these new fans. I've been going to Phoenix. Actually, this past season, the 2015 season, my first year, I missed a trip to Phoenix for financial reasons because Southwest, and that's my main carrier that I fly out of, and the only one that really serviced, Sky Harbor from Mineta nonstop, and it was a little bit too pricey for me. So instead, I alternated to that, and then went down to Anaheim. Actually, Tom and I drove down there, and then we flew up to Portland and went there. So that's
and I've been to Phoenix as well in the past. I actually went to the Arena Bowl, SaberCats and Arizona Rattlers.
Arena Bowl 18, 2004.
Yeah, and that was a fun situation. And then they actually have a really good arena out there, especially since they built
renamed
it out.
It's renamed now.
Yeah, is it the Indian Reservation?
It's Talking Stick Resort Casino Arena. There's someone down Talking Stick Resort Arena. So it's no longer U.S. Airways because U.S. Airways got bought out by American Airlines, and I guess the naming rights also were expired. So this actually, the renaming of the arena actually transpired before last season took place, but they didn't make it official because they had to go out the contract. So now it's Talking Stick Resort Arena, and a friend of mine even verified that.
Interesting name, huh?
Yeah.
Well, Talking Stick is one of the main casinos out there.
Yeah.
It's actually Scottsdale. And it's Scottsdale Boulevard out there, or Scottsdale Road out there. I forget, because I went by it before.
I managed to hit a couple of Chicago Rush games. I had an office in Chicago for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So when I could hit a SaberCats game, I'd hit a Rush game, particularly when the SaberCats played in Chicago, too.
How was that arena out there?
It was an all-state arena. It was all-state's entire old arena.
Uh-huh.
It's a smaller arena. It's a basketball arena, mainly.
Is it, so smaller. What would you compare it to? I know we have limited...
Stockton.
Oh, Stockton, okay.
Seats about 12,000.
Okay. Stockton, okay.
Yeah.
Kind of the same kind of feel?
Stockton's more homey, I thought.
Okay.
It was a little bit more, 2-layer, two tiers.
Yeah.
And not quite as homey as Stockton. I like Stockton Arena.
Oh yeah. You know what, I do. And the thing is, it's like during the arena, not to change the subject or anything, but during the Arena Bowl, the championship game, and I know some fans came over from Arizona.
Yes.
Gary being one of them, right?
Yeah.
He was there.
I saw him in passing. I didn't really get a chance to stop by. So
it really felt like a small version.
Yes.
A small version of. In fact, if I remember Gary correctly from his post and everything, he did even more extracurricular activities than we did. He went to the awards assembly,
the media day,
Thursday night, the media day, and everything. So that's good.
Well, unfortunately, with with it, say Arizona coming here and them being the road team. So when somebody comes out here for a main game, which is the conference championship game, and the right to do whatever, for the Arena Bowl, whether Arizona's going to host it or maybe I think the other option was go to Philadelphia. And the only time they were hosting they was hosting Jacksonville like the way we did. And they're going to spend X amount of dollars getting out there.
Yeah.
Now, I know that a lot of the Rattler fans I talked to or the few of the Rattler fans I talked to out there, they flew into like the SFO, and then they made like the hour and a half or 2 hour trek, whatever it is, through major traffic and all hell, because San Francisco International is not really in the city of San Francisco.
Oh yeah,
it's about like 20 minutes south, like near Burlingame, and they made that. So, but I asked also a lot of them saying, well, couldn't you fly like I think was it Alliance Airlines? They fly from like Mesa Airport out there.
Do they fly to Oakland or Sacramento?
They fly from Mesa straight to Stockton.
Stockton?
Yeah.
And it's like they're only maybe like $60 each way.
Wow.
It's very cheap. I know like $46 to
Call
Las
me
Vegas.
naive, but I did not know that Stockton actually had like a...
No, we passed it up on Interstate 5.
For some reason, I just didn't... I always think Sacramento... they got their...
Yeah, they got an international airport.
Yeah, but I didn't think that Stockton had, like big flights coming in.
Well, Stockton would be like, I guess it could be a hair smaller than maybe Monterey Airport.
Yeah.
It could be probably equivalent to Lake Tahoe.
Okay.
It could probably handle commercial liners like Southwest and American and all that stuff, but it's not marketed for it, and it's not really a travel destination airport.
Yeah. But they have airlines Well, they have like commercial airlines.
They have Alliance, which is a commercial airline.
Yeah.
But there's like smaller airlines. They're not the big conglomerates like.
And you can fly them out of like some of the larger airports.
Absolutely.
It depends on where the airlines are contracted to. Because the larger airports will charge more for landing fees.
Yeah.
And San Jose charges a lot of money for landing fees. That's why some of the airlines, don't come here, or they have limited, access.
Or it's
here.
more expensive.
But recently, with our new mayor, that's changing. At least with the international, we got Al Napon here, ANA Airlines. We got Lufthansa's going to start. British Airways is going to start. Lufthansa's going to start to Germany, Frankfurt, nonstop San Jose to Frankfurt.
Wow.
British Airways nonstop to London Heathrow. Air Canada's coming back. They used to be here, and they're going to do nonstop from San Jose to Vancouver.
Wow!
So
that's good.
Things are working, but domestically, I'd like to see more availability. Like when I was checking airline flights the other day to go to Sky Harbor, there was hardly any. For I think the
like
the
one
game,
or two a day or something.
Like 2 or 3 games, and the price was kind of up there. I mean, actually, I got it here on my Google Drive here. The May 21st game is the game that we're planning on going. Yeah, and it's like $270 round trip for Tom and I to fly each individual. And wait a second, this is the wrong one. This is the LA Kiss game. Hold on a second. Arizona Rattlers, it's $304 to Sky Harbor from San Jose. And we 10:30 in the morning from San Jose, get to Sky Harbor at 12:15, and then San Jose come back 3:50 p.m. So. And that's leaving not the next day. That's coming on Friday, come back to San Jose on a Sunday. So, and airfield, the fuel for the jets has gone down the price too. So you thought they would lower the prices too, but that's why we when we talked about doing our budgeting for our road trips next year, to limit it down, so and keep it there. And I mainly go Southwest because I have, a lot of points built up for it, and I want to keep those points. So maybe it'll benefit me for when the Marina Bowl comes around. That if it is on the East Coast, maybe I can get a free round trip or at least a free one-way trip. And same with Tom, he can start accumulating points too more. Yeah, that'd be good. So far we still got 2, but this is still new. I know we're switching over from Meerkat that we did 2 weeks ago to Periscope, and I think Periscope might be the better thing. But
also, when we also schedule things on time and do all that, and we set up, and we're all everything's coordinated, and we promote it and all that, I think more people will join video-wise.
For those who are following us on as we're recording this podcast for our SoundCloud.com/NinthManNation, and for those watching, the 2 people that are watching on our Periscope live stream, I just basically joined this account yesterday, literally.
Wow.
And but basically what it is I have, if you go to ninthmannation.net, which is our official website, so it's number 9, THMAN Nation.net. I do have a page on there for the calendar. It's hooked up to a special Google calendar that I embedded on the page, and I post up there the event. So I will post up some talking notes that we're going to have for the show, but I think I even Plus, we're supposed to have a former player come here. I didn't hear back from him yesterday. But we do have players lined up already. I even have a coach lined up to be on the show later. I'm working on a team president, CEO. So maybe we'll get him. I'm working on getting maybe Brian Fox to come on. Hopefully he'll come on and we'll talk to him about how he got involved with the LA Kiss and his experiences from the past years.
Even from the Avengers. He's back from the Avengers days. Yes.
Yeah, so he helped out Casey Wasserman at the Avengers. So maybe he could share his experiences and his passion. He has a true passion for the game. And he loves it back, Of course, he wishes for him it'll be easier if it was still playing at the Staples Center because he's from that area.
Yeah.
He's not from Anaheim, which is like the distance between San Jose and San Francisco.
And see, it's hard to understand that when you go in Southern California. It's like, oh, okay, Honda Center, Staples Center. Oh, it's all Southern California. But Southern California is just not like right down the street from each other. It's like there's highways and freeways and interchanging, and it's like 45 minutes, 2 hours.
At least if you get a decent traffic where you're going at least 35 miles an hour on the freeway, on the 5, you could get to LA in a half an hour, 45 minutes, if you're lucky. So to move on, let's go ahead and let's
talk about the agenda.
That's the agenda. Okay, we're going to talk about the 8-team league. So basically, we got the 8-team league. So just to break it down, there's been additional realignment again because of the disappearance of the SaberCats. So they balanced it out. And of course, they took the westernmost teams and put them in the National Conference. So you got the Arizona Rattlers, you got the LA Kiss of Anaheim, and then you got the Portland Thunder, and then joining the National Conference is the Cleveland Gladiators. So if this was a conferential, if they were to do the playoffs like they've done in the past, the top seeds in the conference, those are the 4 teams that would be going out. In the American Conference, you got the Philadelphia Soul, Tampa Bay Storm, Orlando Predators, and Jacksonville Sharks. So those are the 4 teams in the American Conference. Now, if you're doing 8 teams and you're going to split them all like that, fine. I can see that's how that would make sense. Sometimes common sense on that. As far as for geographic location that you would team them up like that. So we'll see what happens. Now, as far as for when things go in the playoffs, they've already confirmed that all 8 teams automatically are going to be in the playoffs, seeded 1 through 8. So top seed plays the number 8 seed, number 2 plays number 7, 3 plays 6, and 4 plays 5 like normal. And of course, the top seed will be the home team. The top 4 teams will be the home team. The lower 4 teams will be the road trip teams. So that's how it's going to be, and that makes it 4 games being played. And then you got those winners will go down, and it cuts down to 2 games, which is basically you would normally say the conference championships normally, but with this because this is tournament style that they're dealing with. So that would be the 2 teams would be like the semifinal, or what considered now be the semifinal, instead of conference championships, and then the final is now the Arena Bowl.
This is the way it was in the very beginning to begin with.
Like in the 80s?
In the 80s,
yeah.
And even in the 90s.
Early 90s?
Because we were playing Arizona in the same conference.
Yeah.
In 2 Arena Bowls where they took the best 2 teams.
And they came up against each other,
and a lot of people thought that was the best way to go because you always have the best 2 teams.
But then the problem is because Arizona and San Jose were like playing each other every year or whatever.
Well, that's one of the reasons why they split it up.
Yeah.
They already split the Rattlers and SaberCats up, but we were still in the same division. But they split up the format on how they did it.
Yeah.
So, which is more standardized. The format they've been doing it is basically actually more standardized in sports than before. So that's why they're trying to market themselves to doing that way. Of course, historically, you break up the rivalry that was the SaberCats and the Rattlers, and everybody said, oh, the real Reno Bowl wasn't SaberCats versus Jacksonville, it was SaberCats versus Rattlers at the Stockton Arena.
Yeah. In some ways, that's the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, from a point standpoint, it was only decided by 3 points. And that's how you want it. You want a tough back-and-forth game. You don't want to say, oh, the SaberCats are going to win by 60 points or the Rattlers are going to win by 60 points. Because then you're like, by the 3rd quarter, 4th quarter, you're like, oh, why am I still here? Yawning. Because the game's already basically been decided. Because of the point, even though in arena football, that that could be narrowed down, not 30 points, but 60 points in one quarter. But maybe that'll be a new record to go for somebody to score 60 points in one quarter. So basically, okay. Well, we don't have really a time limit. We'll just go with the flow on this. I know we're like at 25-minute mark just right now. We've still got 2 people on Periscope. So basically, that's the 8 teams. That's the playoff breakdown, and that's how things are going to go. I know they start off with the war on I-4 right on the opening night with, was it, I think, Tampa Bay at Orlando? No, or Orlando at Tampa Bay. I think it's one of the two. I have, right now on the Ninth Man Nation calendar on the website, I have the first 2 weeks posted of the schedules. So if you ever need to fall back and find what the schedule is, that's on there. And of course, as the games get a final score, I'll have the final scores on the schedule.
Orlando at Tampa Bay.
Was it Orlando? Okay, yeah. Orlando, Tampa Bay. So they're going to start out there.
Arizona, Portland. Philadelphia, Cleveland. That's all on Friday. And then Saturday, April 2nd, Jacksonville Sharks at LA Kiss. So there you have it, week 1.
Yeah, and of course now, well, like it's going to be a max 4 games, and there's going to be a 16-week game this year with 2 bye, and one of the bye weeks is mandated like it was this past season on July 4th. What are your thoughts of them doing like now a league mandate so all the team, basically the whole league stops on July 4th weekend? What do you think, John?
With 8 teams, you almost have to do that. No way, you just take a vacation.
But if we had say we had like 50 teams, and they still all did that.
No, I think you really need to look at readjusting the schedule, giving everybody. If you're going to have two buys, everybody will buy equally during the season, and then. If, July 4th is a tough deal to get you to come to a football game. So I do agree with, suspending the games for that particular day.
Yeah.
That weekend.
What do you think, Tom?
Well, if there's a lot of teams and it's a long season, I think it's okay to have split up the buys, kind of like the way the NFL does it. It's kind of good that you have all the teams taking a break all at one time. That way you can never say there's advantage one way or another.
Right.
So, like you had mentioned, 4th of July, it may be challenging because people are celebrating to go to games and everything. And if it was outside, you could say 4th of July, fireworks and all that. But inside an arena, it doesn't really work. So, I'm for it.
They tried.
Yeah, I know, they tried.
They tried.
Oh, is that the one with the fan? The fan almost got caught on fire
the field and bounced up.
Yeah. So, not good in an arena, people.
Yeah, so like week 14 is the universal bye for July 4th, according to the schedule here. And then you got open dates in week 4 with Portland Thunder and Tampa Bay Storm. You got open dates for week 7, Jacksonville Shark, LA Kiss. And then week 17, Orlando Predators, Philadelphia Soul. And week 18, Arizona Rattlers and Cleveland Gladiators. So having a bye on the basically the last week of regular season, I think that's kind of bad for any team.
Yeah.
Because, they're going all season long. They're going to acquire injuries, sickness, or whatever they're going to have. They're going to be fatigued from the year long, especially like if it's like Arizona, because they also have a bad thing because their practice facility, last time I checked, was outdoors in that Phoenix heat.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not good. If things are changing for this upcoming season, they're going to indoors, which I would think they would go somewhere indoors, like to maybe like one of those indoor soccer arenas that they have for.
Well, remember the SaberCats? They had the indoor facility.
Yeah.
They just basically took the outdoor field and they covered it with tarp. Now I don't know if they can. Maybe they could pump AC in there and kind of cool it off and everything, but it's not a big task to put a big tent outside.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, the SaberCats had to remove that because they were practicing, they practiced facility, they rent space off of a middle school in the area. Yeah. The neighbors around the middle school were complaining about it. No matter how nice it looked. So you can't please everybody.
Paint flowers on the outside and put a couple of forest trees and everything and stuff. It's like, man.
So let's see what else we're going to talk about next is, Commissioner Butera, Scott Butera. So he's done 1 year now. He's got 1 year under his belt. A lot of people are on top of him and saying this is, basically the death of the league and all that stuff. No matter how the league wasn't situated, whether we have like the 8 teams now or whether we are going strong with 32 teams or whatever, for a commissioner to come in and to do whatever necessary to where the fans see action right away, I think it's kind of, jumping the gun. I think, I haven't gotten to too many commissioner talks with him, but I know John will get with them a little bit. Has called him, and he has returned calls, which one is a good thing.
Yeah, that's unusual, actually.
Yeah, and we'll do that comparison with Kurz and Halwas, and then, with Baker back in the heydays. But I think that Butera took this first year as an assessment thing. He didn't want to make too many changes. He basically wanted the league to run as is. He made a few corrections here and there, and things surmounted to where things had to be done with a couple of teams, having ownership that really couldn't afford themselves into the league anymore. And then we're talking, like New Orleans and Spokane. Now, as far as for Las Vegas, issue arose to where the main principal financer, who's from Southern California, Vince Neil wasn't the main guy behind that thing. He was just the forefront media guy because he's,
he was the poster child.
Motley Crue.
Yeah.
So basically,
which it's like the question that I have is, if the LA Kiss didn't join the league with their ownership, would he even be involved? It's almost like, not really copycat, but, you see kind of like a rock band, ownership situation, and then all of a sudden it's like everyone else. And I know you had Bon Jovi in the past and some of the others, but the question is, it's like, would Vegas, it's always interesting, if LA didn't come into the play, would Vegas have come in being with the ownership of, that they had because of the whole rock thing, it's like...
I have some different views on that. I think that initially they looked at this becoming a rock and roll type venue.
Now the thing is, it's like you got to be careful because you don't want to be like the XFL,
right?
Where the XFL kind of seemed more of a WWF of the NFL.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful because if you don't play that whole WWF and WWF, as you know, they are a marketing machine, right? I mean, what over at Levi Stadium with the last WrestleMania, $10,000 for some of those seats. So they know what they're doing, right? And I've also noticed that LA, they do a lot of marketing stuff, and they know marketing, right? Because they're whole behind that and everything.
That's what Gene Simmons is known for, is marketing.
Yeah, so it's like, of course, it's like when you take a look at LA, it's like in a short amount of time, they've done a lot. They've done a lot of things to show that they are experts. And, we're from a sales background, right? So we see that and everything. Oh, okay,
also, the thing is like, from Gene Simmons, you had the 3 principal owners with the LA Kiss. Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, and Doc McGee. Now, people are like, what's Doc McGee have to do with Kiss Rock Group? Doc McGee is Kiss manager, business manager. So he's part of it. So you have those 3 out of the entire band. Okay? So you have those 3. And then, if you take a look at those 3, the only experience they had about the arena football, besides possibly, watching a few games here and there, whether it be back in the day when the Avengers were playing the Staples or any other of the teams that were around, is playing the concert show at the Arena Bowl the year before in Orlando. And they decided, they want to be a part of the team. Now, I'm not sure if they already had decided, and that's just when they made it public, to launch in it, because I know when they did the media day there at Orlando for the Arena Bowl, that the Kiss already had a helmet design with their logo on it, so I'm sure they were more prepared, and they were faster to get their branding out there onto any kind of arena football gear or whatever have you to show that, hey, we're here, we're going to be here strong. After I talked to Joe Wyndham last year down in Anaheim at one of the Kiss's post-game spots at Tilted Kilt. They're going to be there for a long time. I thought originally they had maybe like a 4 or 5 year lease agreement with the Honda Center. Joe said now they have 10 years.
Yeah.
So, and that's showing that they're very committed. Now, but going back to the starting of the team, the Kiss, is that they brought in someone who was supposedly like a great veteran to the league, Brett Bucci. and the Bucci clan. Brett Bucci had his stint for like a couple years with Arizona, moved east to Orlando, and became more known through the Orlando Predators and his ownership there. And now suddenly, then at, of course, the Arena Bowl, he announces that he's resigning and he's selling his share to his partner, and that all went south. As things went haywire for Orlando, they had to move to a college arena that's nowhere near Orlando. So basically, Brett Bucci came back and partnered up with Kiss. I'm thinking maybe that made more of like a Hollywood spectacle for Brett. He saw the Hollywood opportunity.
Yeah.
Who knows? And also, he is originally from the Phoenix area, so maybe that's also another reason to get from Anaheim to Phoenix. It's like a 6-hour drive.
Yeah,
but so it's closer to family and home.
But also, it's like, with LA, now's a perfect opportunity for arena football, because for such a long time, NFL has not been in Southern California except for the Chargers, right? But as far as like LA area and stuff, so it's like, you gotta rack in any type of interest right now.
You can't let the USC Trojans and UCLA Bruins be the main focus point of football, period.
You know what? Soon, maybe 2017, most likely, you're going to have two teams in the LA market.
Or it's
brand new
2017,
soon, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, while you can, you got to snatch up as many people who are, like wanting football to go in. Arena football. You can't really compare arena football to NFL, outdoor, indoor. You can't really compare them, but because they're two different situations, Right. But it's like it's a good opportunity right now to just like feed him as much as you can.
Getting back to the commissioner, Scott Butera.
Yes.
You have to give him a little bit of wiggle room for his first season.
Yeah.
There's some decisions he made that not really made a lot of people happy.
Right.
Some of them are pretty dumb, in my opinion. But there's some things that he's done that has been pretty right too. And I just think that he has a plan where, like Eric said, he's sitting back and he's looking and he wants to see, instead of coming and making all these wholesale changes and ticking a lot of people off. I think he's made some assessments. I think we're going to see some major changes coming in. We've seen some new sponsorships come in, some changing in the sponsorships. And that really is the lifeblood of the AFL, the NFL, and in all sports is, you need those big dollars coming in to help support the league. So when you have that kind of, maybe some kind of planning behind it, but I don't really believe the league has really had a lot of advanced planning. In my opinion, they've always flown by the seat of their pants, and they've let the owners kind of take charge of what they were going to do in the area. Now, I think that what the league has got to take care in standardizing your finances of the team, so we don't lose 2-3 teams every year. And I think Scott's making these moves to do this.
Yeah, no, that's good. And you could talk to Eric on this. I don't have Tourette syndrome, where I throw out bad words and this and that and everything. But sometimes I'll like text you, Eric, or I'll say something and I'll let my emotions take over. And I'm kind of Heckle and Jekyll sometimes when it comes to that stuff. Maybe I'm
you're yin.
So you have to bring me back down to earth sometimes or whatever. So it's like being part of the SaberCats fanship and knowing that the SaberCats had this headbutting going on and this conflict and all this and everything, it would be very easy for me to jump on the SaberCat ownership bandwagon and say, you know what, man, everything that the new commissioner's done is this, that, and everything, and the whole league and this, that, and everything. But you know what? But this might surprise you. I'm stepping back and I'm saying, you know what? Like what you're saying, first year, this and that and everything, and with this whole ownership thing, do you want to get the big time owners, like the NBA ownership, the NHL ownership, and go with that kind of plan, which it looks like it's going in that direction, which is long-term stability, or do you want to have not so much Bob's Used Tires as the ownership behind it, but do you want to still be playing in the Little League, or do you want to kind of take it to the next level, right? So for the long-term stability of the league and to ensure that it's not going to go bankrupt and everything, if it's taken, weeding out different ownership that maybe is not the right kind of fit where they can actually sustain themselves, but as a whole, it's not going to happen, then maybe you need somebody to kind of go in balls first, balls all, and really like change things and shake things up. And if it comes down going to 8 teams 1 year and then building solidity and stability, then, so be it and everything. So it's going to be very interesting what happens in the league the next couple of years. Whether, there's talk about international, there's talk about domestic, there's talk about, bringing it in and seeing what that kind of game plan is. So that's kind of I would say stick behind the commissioner, stick behind him this year and stuff, see what happens and everything. Maybe our emotions, don't let your emotions drive it. Sit back, and this comes a lot from 3 guys who are diehard SaberCats fans who aren't really playing in the league, and we're having to leech on and get our fix on other organizations this year and stuff. That says a lot from
including our SoCal rivals and our arch rivals, Rattlers. But
yeah. But I have to agree with everything you've said, Tom. And I still think the key to the whole arena football is having a say in the venue's programming.
Oh, yeah.
Because what happened to SaberCats this year, having to play the championships game in the Arena Bowl out of the area because of the circus for years and years and years, says that the people who run the arena didn't really buy into the San Jose SaberCats.
Oh, yeah.
If they had a financial interest with it.
There's really a catch with that thing. See, now, go back to the day when the San Jose Arena was first built and open to whoever wants to come in and rent it, okay? The very first tenant wasn't the San Jose Sharks, even though it was purposely built for them, because their season didn't start technically till like a month and a half later when it opened up and it was ready for use. The first occupant of the team was the circus, Ringing Barlin Bailey Circus. So, and they've had that same week every year. So they're looking from their business standpoint, if they're going to be in a specific area when they do their tour around the country, they have the same week of the year and it's consistent.
There's 2 weeks.
Or 2 weeks. Why they have 2 weeks for SAP Center and then only maybe like a week in Oakland and a week in Cow Palace? We don't know.
It's a business situation. It's a money making. They figured out that it's beneficial for them to do that.
Plus, also the San Jose Arena. I'm not going to do sponsorships on the names. I'm going to call them for what they are. The San Jose Arena is, especially at the time, was a brand new facility, state-of-the-art facility in the heart of Silicon Valley, and the capital city of Silicon Valley, San Jose. And to have your event in San Jose, which is now the 10th largest city in the country, is a good thing for you. And the fact that we have over 1 million people in the city of San Jose and close to around 4 million in the Santa Clara Valley, a.k.a. Silicon Valley, is a big deal. And then, of course, they'll cater to the little city north called San Francisco, which Cow Palace is not in San Francisco. It's actually in Daly City. And then you got the other city in the East Bay, which has like 500, 600,000 in Oakland. So just so you can minimize the commute to make it more of a regional event. So now going back to that, also the fact that it could be to say that this was the fault of the league on when they do their scheduling. They have to not only look at just the SaberCats and say, okay, let's work with the SaberCats. When is their arena open to when they don't have to worry about the Sharks, and when the Shark season ended and the rest of the open, they don't have any other events? Because the San Jose Arena, for the past 4 years, until last 4 years, was the second busiest arena, not in the country, but in the world, behind the O2 in London, England. Now it's like the top 5 arena in the country because there's been other facilities remodeling and branding themselves and other arenas being built. Like coming up a couple years, it will be Golden One Center in Sacramento. And it'll be a new facility. People want to check that thing out. But San Jose Arena is still the top sporting venue attraction in the country, period. Mm-hmm. And when the Arena Football League comes out with their schedule, they have to say, okay, well, the SaberCats could play at the arena, boom, 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 these dates. Then they go say, okay, the Rattlers could play at their arena, boom, 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 this date. Because the Rattlers also have the same thing where they have to share U.S. Airways Center or the Phoenix Arena, Memorial Arena, with not only just the Phoenix Suns but the Phoenix Mercury, of the WNBA. Yeah, there's been speculation saying, well, why doesn't the Rattlers go move to Glendale and play in the Glendale Arena there next to University of Phoenix Stadium, Gila Center, where the Coyotes play, because they built it. And if you look from a more perspective size, that Gila Center in Glendale will make more of a feasible thing than the U.S. Airways Centers did, only because it's a bigger arena. It's more built for the hockey. When the Coyotes first moved down to Phoenix, they played in U.S. Airways Center, and that's why they had to build Gila, because U.S. Airways Center wasn't really truly built for a full-fledged hockey center. It's more built for the Suns that came out of the Memorial Coliseum and moved to downtown, and they're trying to centralize everything to downtown Phoenix, which is a nice area, very nice area, nice restaurants, good scene. You got Chase One Field there with the Diamondbacks right there. So now Glendale has their little scene where they had the football stadium and now an arena there. So and also from a player standpoint, you would think it could be safer to have the arena football game in Glendale because of the arena would be bigger and there'd be carpet. Sometimes I get worried for not just from the SaberCat player standpoint, but from also the Rattler play, when they're running and they're going to catch a ball. There's that corner of the end zone that you go from carpet straight onto concrete, and your traction is completely different. Yeah. I'm surprised someone hasn't broken a back or a leg or some kind of major injury happened that. And there's another arena that happened like that too. I forget who it was, but those other arenas, they did it actually in Orlando when they were playing at the college arena for a year, but that was just for that 1 year. They're back at Amway Center, which is a bigger arena. So going back to availability of the schedule, I think the fact that when they moved the schedule of arena football to start way in late March, when it used to start like a week or two right after the Super Bowl, right, to keep the football thing going and feeling going, which is a good thing, that's what messed it up, at least from the SaberCat perspective.
Because it was always started in February, didn't it?
Yep. Yes, I remember we went to Arena Bowl July 27th.
Yeah.
And now it's
which kind of made sense because once August hits, people are thinking NFL and stuff, and it's kind of bleeding into that area. It's like if you. So I never understood why they put it to where boom, right, NFL back to back. It's like right there.
Yeah. So and when I was talking to Steve Watson, who's they just recently had their elections in the Players Union, but he was the executive vice president for the Players Union. We had a conversation, some of the conversation, and said, well, wouldn't it be a great idea to move the league back towards, the middle of February, end of February, the latest? And he looked at it and said, well, we would have an issue with that because of the arenas renting out to, the college basketball and the NCAA tournament and the viewership and all that stuff. I said, well, if you're looking from perspective, that's when the AFL season is just barely kicking off. So fans are making the transition, from the NFL, and they may need a little bit of a break from football for a little bit because of financials, where from spending that billions of dollars they have to spend to go to an NFL game, or travel if they're going to fan stuff. That's a transition, and it's the beginning of the season. As compared, if you go and have the league end in August the way it does now, and you worry about the NFL starting up again for the preseason and dealing with that, that's just a preseason of the NFL, but NFL is such a monster house right now. People will say, screw the AFL, I'm going to the NFL now that's back. Yeah. I'm going back to so-called real football. The outdoor game. I'm going to my tickets. We're going to spend all this money towards them instead of spending the money towards their league and their local teams. So, and that time of the AFL season, that's the prime time for the AFL season because it's the leading to the playoff race, getting in the playoffs, and it's the Arena Bowl. If the playoffs, at least if the playoffs and the Arena Bowl were available before the NFL preseason, and then you had maybe a week or two gap between the Arena Bowl and the very first ever preseason game for the NFL, then that'll make more sense. And then to overlap it as far as at the start of the season, to have it to where, you may be missing a few games here and there, but it's just barely the kickoff of the league for the Arena Football League. Right. And you want the main traction where all the fans are intense and the games, the rivalries are in the heart and thick of things in the season. And the season's underway and it's in the heart. You rather risk the beginning of the season than to risk the championship game.
Plus, to be honest with you, the Arena Football League right now is not as big as in the heyday. when they were packing the arena to where they opened up the whole upper reserve, the whole lower reserve. They didn't block out with curtains half of the arena, right? All of the food places were open. It's almost like a barometer, right? Back in the day, you had almost. Now I know the San Jose arena at the time. I think that was even before the Compact Center, 2002, when the SaberCats went to their first Arena Bowl.
Well, it was Compact Center at San Jose.
That was 16,000 packed fans. That was capacity, right? In all honesty, to the league has shrunk after the whole, breaking down the league and stuff. So it actually, in all honesty, it makes more sense. It felt more like a filled-up crowd in Stockton than it did in San Jose. In San Jose, if it was in San Jose, and I still wish it was in San Jose, right, because that's the home, and we're San Jose SaberCats, not the Stockton SaberCats, right? But in all honesty and stuff, today, we fill up Stockton Arena. And, but San Jose, it's too big of a venue today for arena football, right? Until they make those drastic changes, and the ownerships involved, the big-time ownerships involved in the arenas, when they start buying into it, and now they're saying, you know what, hey, we own the Sharks and we own the SaberCats, so you know what, we have to really promote. And, at that level, they know how to promote, right? And stuff. So the question is, do you stay small and you keep playing to the Stockton arena size, or do you put your identity out there?
I think it has to deal with part of the closure from the SaberCats standpoint is that the fact the way the league in general has outplayed the arena management, the Sharks have nothing to do with the arena, except for that they're the main primary tenant, and they just signed another 20-year deal for the arena. It's SVSE that is the management for the San Jose Arena, Silicon Valley Sports and Entertainment, and they work for the city of San Jose because it's a city property. Thank you. And we're getting the best service here at Blue Water, so if you want to come down for the good service, come to Blue Water.
Yeah. And just a quick plug-in. If you haven't tried the lobster roll, it is to die for. You're holding on to that lobster roll. I've been meaning to do this. You have lobster chunks fallen.
Chunks? That's your choice of
chunks
words?
Of lobster. Believe me, lobster is such at a high level. You can have chunks and it can sound delicious still. Yeah. You have lobster chunks.
This is our sponsor for the episode. Blue Water Seafood and Crab in the in the Willow Glen area.
Yeah, good stuff.
Just a mile south of the San Jose Arena, and a former post-game spot for the San Jose SaberCats. So, but basically, getting back to it, from any league or any sports arena in the country, and they're looking back at saying, this is how they're saying in general, this is how the league, the Arena Football League, is being handled and being sponsored, and they're year in, year out starting to lose teams because of certain situation, financial, legal, whatever, that you have for the type of ownership that's there. The arenas are not being fully committed to opening like all their concession stands to the fans come in, because they see that there's not that many people. If you look at probably the best attending crowd that we had recently was last year, Arizona Rattlers at the Cleveland Gladiators Arena Bowl. That had sort of a two-catch thing. It's the Arena Bowl. You got championships. Cleveland is a little bit more centrally located geographically on the map. And then also it's a chance for Cleveland, the city, to actually have its first professional championship under its belt. The Indians haven't done it. The Browns, not even going to do it for a while.
Yeah.
And then the Cavaliers were close. Of course they lost to the Warriors. They got spanked by the Warriors. So
they didn't get spanked, but it was.
Oh yeah.
It was a
4-2, man.
It was a one-man show for Cleveland. It seemed like. Because the other guy, who's the guy that got injured? One of their key guys?
I don't follow basketball. Okay. That's NBA. We're hearing about the AFL.
Yeah.
And so,
Kyrie Irving. There you go. The guy that got injured for Cleveland? Yeah. Okay. Tom's on it.
The other Tom?
Yeah. The guy with the good name, Tom.
Okay. So, anyways, basically, that's where I see how the attendance. So, if the attendance was, say, strong as it was before the 2008 breakdown, and we're consistent, and we just kept on going off that feed, I think and we kept on going off the feed, I think the teams would have more of an attendance, year round. Now, as far as we're speaking for Florida and why they are so successful, honestly, I don't really, it's because they're in Florida, I don't personally, pay attention to their marketing schemes, but from my contacts, that I've made, whether it be Arizona Rattler fans in Phoenix or with Gary there, I don't know what the marketing is of each team. The SaberCats have very poor marketing. And every now and then you'll see the billboard, but the billboard was conveniently located at one of their corporate headquarters, right off the freeway. For years, it was really busy graphically wise. If you're going down the freeway and you look at the billboard, you barely saw what it was. None of those read information, the website address, phone number to get season tickets, or what it was for. And they've calmed down with that. They started, making more of a solid print and make it more easy. This past year, it was easy, but the marketing, there was nothing going on with a lot of the media here is controlled by San Francisco media, and for some reason they don't favor San Jose sports except for the kiss-ass Sharks. So basically you got the San Francisco media not doing it. A friend of mine who writes for the Mercury News sports section, he covered the SaberCats, but he can only do so much himself. He's the one person, and the Mercury News, whatever. But as far as for video, I think the league needs to do whatever they're going to be working on as far as for their TV deals, with continuing on with CBS Sports Network, ESPN, and now this new rumor about they're doing the Spanish broadcast game of the week with Univision, which is the largest Mexican, broadcaster in the Western Hemisphere.
For 2017?
Yeah, for 2016. Next year.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So
we're at 16 already.
That's it.
Jeez.
So basically, with that said and done, there should be ways, even if the game's not nationally broadcasted, there should be ways to somehow grab either, whether it be a local TV field, if a team knows to get a local TV deal, or get the arena feed, because that is like sort of like a TV quality production that they have at these arenas now, to where they can get the feed, and and Arena Football League uses their YouTube channel and does the highlights. And then also, I think that on maybe one of these networks, or maybe to self-produce, it doesn't take too much to really self-produce a TV show nowadays, because you can get a couple of HD cameras easily, for less than like $300 or $400, depending on what kind of cameras you want. Or if you want like a Canon T6i, which is a great 1080p camera, you could get 3 of those for $1,800. And then
is that SLR camera?
Yeah, it's a DSLR camera.
So it looks like a traditional camera, right?
Well, not the camera that I want to get for our channel, which is going to be a 4K, $3,000 camera.
Which is a nice
professional studio kind of camera. But
yeah, but what's crazy is nowadays it's like video got up to a certain point. Now 4K video, of course, that's like the future, right? But you got up to a certain point, right? With 4K, I know you're showing that, which is good.
4K camera.
Yeah. So the thing is, it's kind of funny how before camcorders were the way to go and all this, you go to Fry's, you go to Best Buy, you go to all these places now. The actual camcorders, 2 or 3, it looks like things are kind of falling off the shelf. They're not really emphasizing that, but everything's SLR, because now it's like getting a camera that does video as a secondary, because video is such high quality now. It's like, oh sure, we'll throw in video and everything, so it's kind of interesting.
You could get a little like a handy cam, like the Sony handy cams. You could get they're like in your palm. I checked on like Amazon and San Jose Camera Video that you could get a 4K camera for like $800, $900, and YouTube does support 4K broadcast, and they support that, which is 2160p. And then they go down to 1440p, and then they have 1080p at 60 frames, and then 1080p, and then 720 at 60 frames, and 720p, and then non-HD. So as far as for the league, if they were to get some cameras, like maybe you probably only need 3 cameras. You'll have the center camera, which gets both. If you have like 2 talent on the desks for a show, or maybe the main host and a guest host, like what we're doing here. I'm thinking I'm shooting this in HD, but I'm not sure how Periscope will translate
probably
it.
Depending on bandwidth, you're going to get pixelation. And
and this is coming from the front-facing camera on my old iPhone 5 that we're doing on Periscope, which is a 720p camera, and you can get those people to do the broadcast. So I'm thinking they need to have somehow an AFL weekly show or an AFL live show which does weekly stuff, to reflect on, go over highlights from the games, talk about the league in general, and then talk about what's moving forward, transactions, news, whatever. And I think they need to get back to having that kind of show and putting it on the YouTube channel, and then they can embed it, of course, on their Facebook page, or embed it on their website, have like special, AFL TV page on their website, and they could broadcast it, and then they'll share it through their social media. With the AFL has a Facebook page, they have a Twitter handle, they have an Instagram, they do have a Google Plus page because it's linked to a YouTube channel that they have that they don't utilize. And then they can, if they want to, they could do what this new guy, Arena Rules, or rebroadcast the games, on their YouTube channel, maybe the game will play, and then maybe within a half week later, have it back up, on the AFL TV to rebroadcast the game and promote it to get ready for the next set of games. And there's
like with the NFL, you got the NFL Network, right? 24/7. They do a lot of repeat and everything, but they have something like that, right? So like the AFL, nowadays with technology and all that and everything, you would think that they would have something more on a regular basis to where, now, the SaberCats have the SaberCat Weekly, right, and everything, and I'm not sure about other teams. I'm sure they have theirs. I'm not sure about Arizona. Does Arizona, and probably Gary knows, does Arizona have some kind of weekly, like the SaberCats Weekly?
I know Arizona, they were doing their local broadcasts on Cox 7, which is basically the cable's local channel.
So do they have a dedicated hour show
I'm not sure. I know I had to talk to one of the social media handlers.
And Florida's got to have something like that, right?
Which was with Lindsay. So I made friends with her, but this past season, Arizona didn't have Cox as their partner. They had, I don't even know if they had anybody as far as for local TV this past year.
Yeah.
So I know when the LA Kiss came in, they had KCAL 9 doing their games. And then this past season, in 2015, they didn't have TV. I don't even know if LA Kiss even had radio, because everybody was doing this ESPN thing, which was kind of crap on how they were doing it, and the audio quality was crap.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because at the beginning of the season, they didn't even have the scores up. They were just totally getting feed from all the different arenas, and it's and then ESPN kind of evolved, right? Pretty soon, did you notice that?
Yeah.
They started putting the scores up,
learning procedure,
and little by little, and everything. So, I think that was pretty good because they're videotaping anyways and stuff. But it's you would think that somebody is kind of takes all the trials and tribulations from this year and kind of builds upon. So I like ESPN because ESPN3, whether it be internet or whatever and stuff, right? It's good for the fan because then you can tune in and you can see the games that you're not able to see.
Yeah, ESPN3,
but they have a lot of. We were talking to people in Portland, and anytime other teams would come to San Jose, for some reason the San Jose feed was screwed up.
And they had to deal with the way the arena was sort of treating the Cats. Yeah. And also the SaberCats were testing now, doing San Jose SaberCats.tv, where the son of Fry was building his own server and his own streaming thing. Of course, it was using Shockwave, and that's also another thing with Watch ESPN, ESPN3. ESPN still uses Shockwave Flash for their streaming of their video of all their stuff ESPN3 related. The technology now for live streaming and video online is through HTML5, and that's what Vimeo uses, that's what Live Nation uses, and that's what YouTube uses. And even Adobe, who makes the Shockwave and Flash players, which is headquartered right here in downtown San Jose, they're going away from that. Because on mobile devices like on iPhone doesn't ever support Shockwave or Flash. They'll play anything HTML5 video-wise. So that's the future of doing that. But getting back to producing the show for the Arena Football League, if they were to produce that show locally, whether it be there in Las Vegas or whether we're their communications people are in Chicago still, they could do it there, and they could have it on their YouTube channel, but they could also have it to where they could feed it out to ESPN at CBS. And then they, as part of their package deal, they could broadcast it, Maybe show it on ESPN first and then have it replayed 24 hours later and made it available on ESPN3. And then they could, and as well as their YouTube channel when it gets on ESPN3, and then do CBS Sports Network. And then CBS Sports Network, I don't know as far as for their video capabilities on their website, but that's the thing that they could do.
It only helps everybody because they're obviously they have some sponsors and some of the programming that they have is kind of subject anyhow.
Yeah.
When you watch that, so it would kind of be to their benefit to start something like that, to where it could still. It's not going to. It's going to start with a handful of people watching it.
Yeah.
It's going to go as long as
it's going to grow and develop and sponsor. It takes time to evolve.
Yeah.
And like one of the things I know that the Commissioner Scott Butera is talking about, he says this team, from just not from an individual team perspective and what they can do in their local markets, but the league in general needs to promote and market itself better.
Right.
And like I said, better utilization. I haven't drinking that. You've been drinking, not me.
Utilization.
Thank
It
you.
actually helps.
Yeah,
Drink.
maybe.
Yeah.
I'll have a beer or something. But anyways, better use of their website to handle video and to impress with their Twitter and Facebook and Google Plus stuff. I bet a lot of people don't even know that that Arena Football is on Google Plus. And then they need to have sort of like maybe where they get college interns, to do the handling of the social media. So like if you and I or somebody else from another city that has their teams or anywhere just in general in the country, Curiosity wants to, say, okay, I'm doing this, blah, blah, blah. And then while I'm here, visiting this town, I'm going to go check out this Arena Football game thing and check out and see how it's as we're part of a vacation deal during the city. Like say like Orlando, because that's a high tourist attraction and they have to compete with Walt Disney and Universal out there. So to do that, that could be a good thing. And then if they say a lot of people, when they do that, first of all, they check into the arena, like how when we do it here, we checked into Blue Water. I checked in on Facebook and I checked on Google Plus, which is the page is for businesses has changed on how they do things, but I checked in here, they give notification where we're at. So like, when I would go to the SaberCats game, I would always check in. Not only would I always check in there from the page standpoint for San Jose's ninth man, but I always check in on my personal profile. And then, as far as for the personal profile, I'm able to tag people that I know are going to get. So, like, I'll tag Tom, and then I'll tag you, and then I'll tag other people I know. I would tag.
Did you tag us today?
Yeah, and that's how he knew to come in. And then I would tag a lot of the players I knew, even from both teams. Because I'm friends with a lot of the players on the SaberCats. I'm friends with a lot of players on a lot of the other teams. I got them contacts. We're friends on Facebook.
Yeah, he does a lot of that. All the connections.
And then, I'm also friends, or acquaintances with, a lot of the management of the team. Like Joe Wyndham. I've tagged him, and we chatted during the off-season about stuff and how he's making these big announcements all the time with his transactions in the off-season. So... And Joe Wyndham and I basically see the league as the same way.
Is he LA Kiss Joe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's LA Kiss Joe. He used to be.
I get his feeds too.
He used to be AZ Rattler Joe.
And he's very approachable.
Yeah.
You come up to him. I mean, very, very passionate about it. Yeah. When we met him, he was sitting down.
Yeah.
So.
He was sitting down with his wife.
Yeah. But he's very approachable, nice guy, and everything. And here we are, the opposing team that just
we just whipped your ass.
No, hey, you know what? We beat them, okay? We didn't whip their ass.
By 30 or whatever.
Look at this guy.
That's all for fun.
Usually he calms me down, right? He puts me on level ground. Look at this guy.
No, you know how I would think with beating LA. We beat LA.
He's rubbing it in right there. Huh?
No, but...
You know what? But the thing is, in all fairness, LA, that's the only... Well, we would have had the undefeated situation going.
Well, that was up here. They beat us up here.
Yeah, I know. But
it had to go to overtime to do it.
But the thing is, but they beat us.
Yeah. And that's sort of what they took pride on, beating us. Last year.
Man, it would have been the perfect season. Perfect season.
Yes or no?
Thanks, LA. Appreciate that.
You could say that. We'll also say, like, if the SaberCats were to beat LA and didn't lose that game, whether it be in overtime or regulation, then how would they have, gone to learn from that game and gone on to the next game who we play? You don't know.
You know what?
That's what if.
Yeah,
everything's what if.
Yeah.
If we lose a game, how do we respond to that? If we continue winning,
got the monkey off the back and started relaxing after that. Okay.
So basically, we're basically way off topic.
So what are the topics?
We're getting back on topics. Okay, so Commissioner Butera. Now, I wanted. We're almost down to the last topic. I know this is like an hour and 10 minutes. This is great information, great conversation that we're having, which is what we want, and this is what we're focusing on. What we're coming from a fan's perspective. We want the league to be a little bit more transparent on what they're doing.
Right.
You know, and
Instead of secretive?
yeah, I think one of the things they could do to be a little more transparent. I know they publish on PDF. I think it's like 14 pages. If you go to ninthmannation.net, on the top you say AFL rulebook. I clicked on it and went straight to the PDF document that they have. Now that tells you a whole bunch of rules, but there's some terminology like for transaction, inactive, you know, and all that stuff. All the transactions they have.
Subjective to interpretation?
Yeah, or subjective to interpretation. There's no clear definition. Now, with that said, like I said, I'm really, really good friends with Steve Watson, who is a former Tulsa Talon and a San Jose SaberCat. He went with us to 2007 Arena Bowl, 2008 Arena Bowl. Unfortunately, he didn't play that game. But he's a great guy. He sat down right next to me last year at one of the games. I basically bought him a drink, and I said, "Hey, I'm kidnapping you. You're coming to sit next to me and Tom." And me and him during the third game, I guess it was against Portland, the Portland Thunder game. And we looked up, and we both looked up at the scoreboard just to see what the score was. We're like, "Holy crap! Where did the third quarter go? It's fourth quarter now."
Yeah.
Because we're just chit chatting, you know, and basically. He knows what's going on, so going back to the player standpoint, he would know how to interact with them. I actually lost my train of thought. Oh, with Butera, being more, you know, as far as for knowing the
transparent,
the transparency, and basically he could probably provide a clear detail on what some of those transaction terminology words mean. And I'll give him a call or I'll text him and say, hey, with all the transactions that are available in the Arena Football League, no matter how small a transaction deal to how big it is, as far as putting people on inactive reserve, other league exempt, and all that stuff, is there a way that you and I could work out like a document that we could provide for the fans so they know when transactions happen on the transaction list, they understand what that? Because, matter of fact, one of the parents to one of the former SaberKids, she was questioning about that during the offense, and I said, honestly, I don't know. I haven't really had time. I always wanted to discover that and try to research that information. It wasn't, you know, like a forefront of my thought, or I was always put on back burner. You know, and now today, saying this again, and I'm basically archiving it on our podcast here, saying, hey, I want to get this down. So I'll reach out even after we're done recording here. I'll text Steve Watson, and he lives in the Arizona, the Phoenix area, and I'll say, hey, Steve, is there a way we could work out a meeting and, you know, to get this like sort of like a book of definitions for the transactions done, you know, to be a little bit clearer. So, you know, and then from there, then I'll have to go decide if it's okay if I'm able to even publish it on Ninth Man Nation, and just to help for fans to have more of a resource. I want to utilize Ninth Man Nation as a sort of like a resource guide for the Arena Football League fans. I want to be a conversational forum, you know, so we could just, you know, share our experiences, share things, or have a general conversation. If we could get people talking about the league, it'll slowly spread like a virus, slowly but surely. And the thing is, the fact that it's spreading, even if it's slower than a snail's pace, it's still spreading, and it's doing it from the fans' perspective. If you do it from the fans' perspective, you're going to eventually see one or two more empty seats occupied in the arenas, slowly but surely.
That makes a lot of sense.
So, once we get it out there, that's how I want to do it. And that's what Ninth Man Nation was created for. I actually officially created it and owned the domain and had a website up for the last, I think, like 4 years now. This is my year where I'm actually saying, you know what? Even though we lost our SaberCats here locally here in San Jose.
Temporarily.
It's, you know,
only temporary.
We can't really say anything officially.
You know what? I'm saying temporary.
Okay.
As a fan, knowing nothing or whatever.
Yeah, I know. As a fan, temporarily,
you have to have that.
And we'll get to that. But basically, I want to get this as going. So that's why I'm all over the place on social media. We have started this podcast as a voice for us. I'm like doing the live stream on Periscope. We did 2 weeks ago on Meerkat. I think Periscope might be the better way to go. Of course, we'll have to work on the video quality a little bit. But, you know, everything's, you know, just a test of progress, you know. And eventually, the live stream from Meerkat going to Periscope. And the reason why I chose Periscope for probably the next few times that we do our shows here is because I could take Periscope and capture the video and then put it on our Ninth Man Nation TV, which is Nation TV, which is our YouTube channel.
What's the URL?
Well, it's going to be ninthmannation.tv.
Okay.
I need to actually book that today.
Okay.
And eventually, also today, Tom and I are going to work on. We're going to get official email addresses today too. So remind me of that after the podcast.
Okay.
And I'll register our email addresses, and then we'll work out from a media standpoint. But that's how I want to do things. I want to sort of, you could almost say like run the nation as a business.
Sure.
That's sort of how I looked and ran San Jose's Ninth Man as a business from a marketing standpoint, and that's what I want, and that's how I grew it. And when on the last episode of the Nation podcast, if you heard Tom and I saying basically that we think San Jose's Ninth Man was the best fan club in the league, we're not taking best fan club as far as for having the most membership, or being the most successful fan club or whatever. Just from a standpoint that's visible on the internet. First of all, you start off with the website, and that's where you have the direct traffic to. Our analytics from Google, we were pretty up there. It was growing. It was a steady pace. We had our flat lines, but it was there. And I do a lot of Google Analytics stuff. I'm in all that. It's a WordPress site, and I implemented the Facebook feed, the Twitter feed. You can follow us on Google Plus. We also had a Periscope channel. We had a Keek channel, and if you don't know what Keek is, Keek, it's basically a video platform that you're able to record 36-second long videos and then upload them straight there and then share them. And that's what we did. And I did a couple episodes or a couple of videos from the games where I got lucky. The video was recorded was a good play by one of the SaberCats, and I uploaded them, boom, it was shared. And of course, Instagram.
Tumblr?
Oh yeah, Ninth Man Nation does have Tumblr. San Jose's Ninth Man had Tumblr. Ninth Man Nation, I just joined Tumblr probably like a week and a half ago. So there's very few. So we will have all details. We'll have a breakdown on the social media part of things for Ninth Man Nation on another episode. But right now, going back to Scott Butera, we dragged that on a little bit. See, like Tom and I always say, once we talk about AFL, no matter the small topic to biggest,
you could talk for hours about this stuff.
We're an hour and 17 minutes into it.
Passionate.
We know that before today's show, you and I were talking while waiting for Tom's arrival that you had called.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Well, we don't all arrive at the same time. I was here before him, and he was here before you. You took the wrong route, but
I tried to find a shortcut, but it came along.
That hurts. Finding shortcuts always hurts.
Yeah.
So, anyways, you and I were talking that you had a couple of actual physical calls into the league office, and of course, you had originally.
Let's get back to that.
You had originally left investment, of course, because Butera, he's a busy guy. But you left your voicemail message on his system, and then he actually did what you surprised me, and he probably went, what the hell is this? Is this really him? It might be. Where's the hidden camera? Where am I being pranked?
Yeah,
being punked.
So that's exactly that's unusual.
Yeah,
that is unusual for a commissioner.
I was a little irate because they actually ran a play with our quarterback laying on the field, and he actually ran the play, and I was really mad about that.
Which game was this?
That was.
Do you mind saying? Or?
I don't remember which game it was, but when Myers got hit, he's laying on the field, and they ran the extra point.
Oh, that was a Rattler game.
Rattler game, yeah.
Championship?
No. That was during regular season.
The first one in.
First one of the season.
You know what? During Rattler SaberCats game, it's always a playoff game.
Yeah. So I got I was really upset.
Yeah.
Because no sports has ever done that. I mean, that's a first.
It's almost like grab them by the ankles, drag them off the field, and keep playing.
So I just basically.
No, what they should have done, they should have stopped play and waited for the play to to where the field was completely cleared.
Yeah.
But they did. They did the PAT.
And I blame the officials on that because they wanted to get the game going. And so when I called his office, actually I didn't know where he was at, so I started with Chicago, left a message in Chicago. I was pretty heated by the third phone call I made. And about within a couple of hours, I had a phone call back from him. He actually spoke with me. He probably spoke almost an hour. And for the most part, changed my opinion of the job he was doing and what he was up against.
And you know what? That's important because a lot of people, they may see a flash of him on TV.
Yeah.
They may see him, like for us, we saw a lot of presence during the playoffs,
right,
and during the Arena Bowl, during the championship game and everything. And all you really see is him walking up, him doing the presentation and everything and stuff and all that. But it's good to hear this insight because for me, I go like I'm the first one to complain usually.
Yeah.
just because I'm passionate. Right?
That's you and me both.
Yeah, I'm passionate, and you too. You too as well. It's like it's easy to complain and everything. So I'm glad you're bringing this up.
And even though my conversation that I left the message was very pointed.
Yeah.
He was very cordial.
Wow.
He was very patient, and he actually, said they're going to be making some changes, and he knows that there's some issues with the officiating.
Yeah.
I actually called him the second time about all every play being called as penalties.
Oh yeah. Stopping. If you stop the flow of the game pretty soon, it's like it becomes bureaucratic and you get away from the game.
And he did return my call, and I wasn't able to get the call, but he did leave a message that he knows this is going on. He's trying to make the right changes. He just doesn't have enough time to do everything all at once.
Yeah. That's returns us back to saying that he needs to come into this league and just watch the league take place to see what happens during the league, during the season, and then from there he can make an assessment of what needs to be improved. Of course, from a fan standpoint, a lot of fans are like, we need everything now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're a complete failure.
Yeah.
So
it takes time.
So I've got a lot of confidence in what he's doing, and we're the direction, because he shared his direction, trying to expand the league, but expanding it with people who have the wherewithal to sustain the ups and downs of the league, and also as a startup.
Yeah.
Because it actually is a startup of a company when you get a team.
Oh yeah.
And so I say give him a couple years, and then hopefully I'm very disappointed that the Cats are gone. But I'm confident that we'll have a team in the area soon. I'm hoping. I've been making phone calls to all the sports owners and leave a message with them. You can buy the SaberCats, put it in the arena.
Oh, really?
Sell more
that's
tickets.
Good. Wow.
But
that's good.
So far, nobody's returned my calls.
Yeah, but you know what? It's
a crackpot.
Yeah, you're getting the message out there. Right?
I could probably say this officially that the Kings owner, who everybody's saying that, is probably going to partner up with two business owners based out of Stockton
and create a brand new expansion
and one of them was supposed to be said to be Darren Arbette, because he had an ownership stake of the SaberCats.
Yeah.
I'm not sure to the exact amount of his percentage, and he's more on the operational side, as far as football operation side of things for the ownership for the SaberCats.
Yeah.
From what I'm understanding is that, I don't know about Arbette's standpoint or the other Stockton guy, I don't know all about that they were going to buy the SaberCats and move them up there. That's not going to happen.
No.
I can say that.
Yeah.
Stockton is going to get, Sacramento, the Kings owner is going to do it.
And Stockton cannot be confused with Sacramento.
No.
I think those are two different situations.
The distance between San Jose and San Francisco is less than Stockton and Sacramento. Yeah. Sacramento is probably like an hour and 15 minutes north of Stockton on a good traffic day of the 5 corridor and 99 corridor. So, but basically, the team that's coming to Sacramento in 2017 will be owned by the guy that is the majority owner for the Sacramento Kings NBA team. Now, the 2017 season will begin, of course, in the spring. The brand new arena in downtown Sacramento will not be open or not even be done built until towards the fall, and be ready for when the Sacramento Kings play. So my guess is that whether to possibly keep costs down, maybe they'll play the 1 year in Stockton, or they'll play at the old Arco Arena.
That's still around, huh?
That's still around. Well, yeah, the Kings are playing there today.
Oh, yeah.
So the Kings will be playing there until the end of the season, 2016-2017 season.
Yeah.
Because when the NBA is over, we're basically starting to get to the thick of things for,
completion
for arena football.
Yeah.
So the Golden One Center, which is the new arena in downtown, will be done and open for business by the start of the 2017-2018 NBA campaign. Which is said is that will be the end of the 2017 season for the AFL. So the Sacramento team will probably play its second season in Golden One. If that's how everything's going to transpire, and that's how I, from the outside, see how it's going to be worked. Because I went onto the Golden One's website, and that's how everything's going. I saw pictures of it and all that stuff. There's even talk saying that, well, first of all, Golden One might not even be, fitted for an arena football team. I mean, who would go in their right mind and spend all that money, hundreds of money,
brand new arena,
on a brand new arena if you're not going to make it multi-purpose?
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like it's been consistent to where if you have arena football, it's in line and gear for hockey being able to be played there, right? So when they're looking at, okay, we're going to have an arena football team, which arenas are set up for hockey? Because of the walls and everything and stuff. So the question is, why would, in anyone's right mind, why would they develop a stadium, or an arena, I mean, that is not...
From a city standpoint.
That is not multi-purpose use.
Yeah. Whether you have hockey there, or whether you have like a figure skating championship, or whether you have like Disney Stars on Ice, you have all these other options that could come there and use the hockey configuration, open field play, or even like if it was a concert venue.
Yeah.
You know, it makes sense. You know, the hockey configuration in Arco Arena, where the Kings play now, might be a little bit smaller. Sort of like the way that the Coyotes did with U.S. Airways Center. It's a smaller rink. Even when like the Sharks were in existence, they played in the Cow Palace. That was a smaller rink than as San Jose Arena. San Jose Arena is the full legit rink now, and it's one of the bigger I think fields in the AFL. Besides, you know, maybe Orlando Amway Center and Tampa's Maule Center. Maule Arena. So that's where they're looking at it. Now, with that said, that's what's happening for 2017 for them. 2017 is also going to be the expansion of the Washington, D.C. team. So I looked on, and the main company out there that sort of occupies the Verizon Center, which is the main arena that's based in the Chinatown district of Washington, D.C., basically is the owner of both the Wizard NBA team and the Capitals NHL team. They're called Monumental. And they're building a brand new arena in St. Elizabeth East, which is a district in Washington that's outside of Chinatown. And from what I'm hearing, that arena is only going to be built and it house 5,000 people. And now 5,000 people in a configuration now it's supposed to be for the Wizards, for their practice facility, because that's what they're going to use it for, a practice facility. And I think it's at Washington Mystic or whatever, which is the WNBA team. That's going to be their home arena. So they're not going to be, playing, the WNBA. It's, I guess, sizing things down again because, they're almost extinct as a league. So that's the WNBA team out of Washington. That's for the Wizard. They're going to move to that smaller arena, and that's 5,000 for a basketball. And when you put an arena into a basketball configuration, usually you get more people. Like when the San Jose Arena is in arena football or hockey, it fits around 17,000. But when you get to, like, say, when the Warriors play there, they can get up to 19,500. It's a big arena for San Jose. And for the area, it's bigger than Oracle or Oakland Arena. So to put an AFL team there, because that's what they're saying, it'll be perfect for an AFL team. They're probably only thinking at first, because I think Monumental is somehow looking at their lease slowly coming up with Verizon Center. They may think that they might want a new arena. I'm not sure how old Verizon Center, but I know it's not too terribly old. But
is it newer than the San Jose?
It might be about the same,
Yeah.
And there's even speculation saying that Sharks
Early
want
90s.
a new arena in San Jose, and there was speculation that the Sharks were going to move to Santa Clara, and the property right across the street from Levi Stadium in Santa Clara where the 49ers play.
Oh, that golf course?
They want that's city owned. The golf course, the restaurant, and there's like a dirt bike track,
like a Santana Row.
They wanted to put a Santana Row kind of thing, but they said they had the room to put an arena there. And there was rumors saying that the Sharks were going to move there and with that new arena. But the reason why they would do that is in order to get out of their contract with their TV deal, because they have one of the worst TV deals in the NHL. But beside that, I think the Washington, D.C. area, I think the AFL team in the Washington, I think they had one before, like was it the Washington Commandos or something like that?
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to keep the same team nickname. But I think they could play in the Verizon Center. I think that's where they need to play. I don't know where things are going to end up.
Whatever happened to the Enforcers?
Oh, the Indianapolis Enforcers?
Indianapolis Enforcers. They look like a dog, but then a cop. It's almost like... Did you ever see the logo? Yeah. It was kind of a cool logo.
That owner said he was trying to get into the AFL by 2017.
Yeah.
I mean, that's almost the same thing with.
So that's another rumor.
There's that rumor about the Austin Armadillos and Mark Palmer, who's right now is sort of under sort of legal issues with the league.
Yeah.
Because he's the one that was trying to go to New Orleans his last home game and try to possibly buy the Voodoo. And then whether to keep him in New Orleans or eventually move him to Austin. So that Austin will have two teams, one in the one league, the Austin Armadillos will be in one like little cheap league. Smaller than the IFL.
I don't think at this size of the game for arena football, you can't have two teams in one city. It's just not feasible. There's not enough fan support at this point.
Yeah. So, but basically, and then he went and moved the Voodoo over to Austin and play at the University of Texas, where the Austin Wranglers played back in the day.
Maybe Austin and San Antonio. That might be a local, because Texas is big in football traditionally, but
San Antonio Spurs could come back. You know, and do that. The Spurs just paid $135 million to renovate AT&T Center. They moved the WNBA team to the Freedom, arena, which was a smaller arena, and it could house an arena football team there, but it'll be smaller. Because when I saw the configuration of the hockey figure, because the San Antonio does have a minor league hockey team, I think in the AHL, and from a standpoint where it's like the jumbotron of every arena is basically dead center of the arena. It wasn't so it wasn't so in AT&T Center. It was dead center. If you had the basketball configuration at AT&T Center for the Spurs, and then for their WNBA team, you go to mid-court, you look straight up, there's the jumbotron. But now, if you go and say, okay, we have to have our hockey team play, so they moved out. Yeah. It's now all of a sudden we got center rink here, and then the jumbotron here, and
obviously two different configurations.
And then one side of the arena was a pitch black wall.
Yeah.
There was no seats there. They had to basically move it all the way back to the wall.
Yeah.
I don't know what they did as far as for the remodeling job. It was $135 million. I know they didn't do much as far as for the jumbotron.
That doesn't get you a lot of renovations. $130 million nowadays.
So I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm thinking that the Spurs might come back in 2017 with the Talons, or 2018. But one thing I know, and I don't know if Butera, during your conversation with Butera, tell you this, but he's getting back to the old style on the way they announce teams. They'll do it like during media day at the Arena Football League or the Arena Bowl celebrations. And they say, okay, team. Let's say Washington and Sacramento. Okay, they're going to get new teams. We're announcing them, but the thing is, they're not going to come play the very next season. We're going to give them a whole season to get themselves acclimated, and get their dealings, get their marketing, get their branding, get their name out in their little home markets. So, but they'll start play in 2017.
That makes sense.
And that's what it says. So they're basically doing a whole year forecasting these new teams to come in. It's like this so-called new deal that they're having with Univision. Univision is supposed to be the Spanish broadcasting partner for the AFL.
2017?
For 2016, next year. This coming up season. And what they're going to do...
teams, though, aren't going to be...
But the teams won't come play. The so-called three teams, if this even comes through.
Mexico City, Monterrey...
No, they don't have the locations. It's not big cities like that.
Oh.
Because Mexico...
That's what I heard, but it's all rumors at this point.
Univision will do the thing as a way to get into the league, and then 2017 they're supposed to have three teams that they own, which a lot of people might think that's a conflict of interest that a broadcast network owns a team. So, and I think from where the league is at now, I think the league needs to stay out of being out of other countries. They need to focus again the heart of America and the team here.
Like AFL China.
AFL China.
I've always espoused that they just stay.
Yeah, exactly.
Get it right here first.
Yeah. I mean, look, even the NFL as a powerhouse, they've tried NFL Europe. It hasn't worked, right? And that's the friggin' NFL, right? How can the AFL think that they can come in and everything? Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, I don't think that the AFL thing in Mexico is good. Now, whether to keep Univision as a broadcast partner, that's one thing. You know how they're going to work that deal out. Whether it's going to be like the way we just discussed. 1 year they're going to be broadcasting their game of the week or whatever next season, and then 2017 own their three teams, or whether Butera rethinks that whole deal. Now, hopefully, if Butera does listen to our podcast, which I hardly doubt it, he's got other things to do. But If he does,
But he does listen to his messages, so
yeah. Maybe John here. You could call him up. And say,
Maybe
hey,
John, you can say, "Hey, I'm going to be on the."
I'm going to be on the Nation podcast. You know.
Angry again.
Yeah.
So basically,
Start getting angry.
basically, what we could do is we could call Butera and say, "Hey, we think the deal with Univision is a good idea, but the fact to have them have their own teams or have anybody own teams in Mexico, especially the way the country is right now, being so corrupt, it's not a good idea, especially for the league that only having 8 teams. You know, I say let's get back to the heart. I mean, let's get this league, viable. Let's get this league big again. Let's get to where we could, get close to at least a 10,000 seat average in every single arena in the league. Yeah. Let's do this. Let's get where we don't get the Arena Bowl put on ESPN News for the first 20 minutes of the game, and we're still delaying the game physically, because the Arena Bowl was supposed to start this past year at 4 o'clock, and it didn't start until 4:15 because they were trying to drag it out just to get back over to on ESPN.
Oh yeah, can you believe that?
And even
we
the league,
we were sitting around. When
the league paid money to broadcast their game on that channel, and they didn't get that channel because of some other minor sport. How about moving that minor sport to the other channel and putting us on? But no, we get the we get the leftovers.
It's all politics.
Yeah, and that needs to stop. We need to get to where we get the priority. Yeah, having a relationship with ESPN is good because they have like ESPN3 where you could do non-TV games and all that stuff, and for those road fans that their team doesn't do broadcasts, that's a good way to watch it. And have viewing parties where each of the fan clubs of each team come in and meet at a restaurant and are able to watch your games. I think each team needs to, if they're going to have a local TV broadcast deal, I think it's more important to, whatever the budgetary mean of that team is, to focus on getting the deal to where the road games are broadcasted, not the home games, only from the standpoint to where where fans can't attend the road games, they could still watch it. They're already coming to the games, let's get them to watch it. And they could probably bring a friend, a relative here or there, and they can come in and they see other fans down, they grow relationships, and then they sell marketing, you get more people in the seats. And then slowly from here and there, once we get more report, then you could chip away and start broadcasting some of your home games. Once you're averaging, say, between 11 and 12,000 people in your seats, or you're averaging 10, but if you're in the 5-figure digit and you're averaging and it's a strong average that you're doing on a consistent basis, then you can go say, let's chip in maybe having 1 or 2 games, broadcast at home on local TV for the fans who cannot make it to the game because they have other plans or whatever.
So during the height of the Arena Football League in San Jose, wasn't it like 13, between 11 and 13,000 fans?
Yeah.
And I mean that was pretty good. That was like, other than like a big major game, that was 3,000 shy or 4,000 shy of capacity. I mean that's big league. Okay. That's getting right there.
I think we need to sort of start wrapping things up here. We still have one more point of topic, which is actually a 2-pointer, and we're already like an hour and 37 minutes into this.
Go ahead, let's wrap it up.
See, are we gonna have anything left for next week?
Yeah. It's not difficult to come up with.
And depending, we're also making shit because, like I said at the beginning, we were supposed to have some of the former players come on. I've reached out. A lot of the former players can't. It's just a scheduling thing. Players are making moves right now for whether it being free agents and they go back to their home base, or whether they're relocated to the new team that they got picked up to,
or retiring,
or they're retiring, whatever. Which, if Reggie Gray, if you're listening to this,
we haven't even got the training.
Do not retire, man. You're too valuable of a player for this league.
He's not going to retire.
Yeah, no, man.
He's got 3 more years.
I bet he comes out of retirement when Chicago Rush come back. He pulls a Jordan.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about this before. He could be banged up and everything, Reggie Gray. He could be banged up. He could be on crutches.
He was banged up during the Arena Bowl.
Yeah. He could be banged up. He's on crutches, and then once he hears hike, boom, crutches are off, and he's like full form, 100%, 150, 200%, boom, touchdown.
So let's go over now with the 2016 schedule, and then the second part after we go to the second schedule is the Arena Bowl, the road trips that Tom and I are going, and I think John may decide on going to at least one of them.
Yeah, they're good. They're fun.
So we're going to go week by week here, real quick.
You want to look any of those over or anything?
So week 1 it begins on Friday, April 1st, April Fool's Day. What a day to start the Arena Bowl. The AFL that is already thinks that everybody thinks it's a joke.
Yeah.
You know, so let's go. April 1st, we got the Philadelphia Soul at Cleveland Gladiators. Now, I've heard on a buddy's podcast, Jason Jones, Coffee House, AFL Coffee House, Coffee Jones. He had a couple of the Philadelphia Soul and some of the Cleveland Gladiators on his podcast.
Yeah.
And that is a bitter rivalry right there. People might not think of it. They probably thought it's Philadelphia versus Pittsburgh Power. No, it's Cleveland versus Philadelphia. That's a rivalry right there in that area.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be not naturally known as a rivalry the way that the SaberCats and Rattlers were, or the war on I-4, only because you have like a freeway issue connecting, which I don't think is a true rivalry because of that. But we're not there in Florida. The Floridians out there might think
Florida
otherwise.
loves their football.
Yeah,
Florida loves their football.
Florida diehard fans. But
foot, you just have to mention foot and ball in Florida, and if they're not on a beach partying or tanning or whatever, they're all into that.
So Philadelphia Soul at Cleveland Gladiators. I think that's a good matchup. You got the Q that's going to be rocking that night. I know it's a Friday night, so it's at 4 o'clock our time, 7 p.m. there in Cleveland.
Yeah.
So what do you think, John? What do you think about that game?
I think it's both teams. Cleveland had kind of a rough year last year, but I think that Philadelphia they both had kind of rough years bouncing back from their championship the year before, championship run. I think it's going to be a tight game, though. I think that personally, I think that Cleveland's going to come out ahead this year.
Yeah. So do you think that Cleveland made more moves, even though they lost their main quarterback? Shane Austin's now with Portland.
I think that they're going to make the right moves. I think that sometimes when you make some moves and you get some new blood in there, it really invigorates a team.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Tom, but I haven't heard any news about who the main quarterback is going to be for Cleveland.
Cleveland is kind of a. I want to see it's kind of an unknown. It can go one way or another because when you throw in a new quarterback, now the last 2 years. This past season, the year before, Cleveland, right? Cleveland trying to go for undefeatedness, going in, and you lose to Arizona, right? And that whole disappointment. Yeah. Philadelphia this year, as strong as the SaberCats were, you think on the other side, first team you think is Philadelphia, right? Boom, they got upset and everything. Boom. That's why Jacksonville, right?
Yeah, but they got beaten by Jacksonville.
So it's it's like the year before and last year, these two teams are like this, but with one without a quarterback, it all depends because you can have a Grebe and Dutton come in, and a quarterback comes in and boom, because he has all the elements around him, and he's a halfway decent quarterback to come over and take it over. It's a crapshoot. Yeah, it's really a crapshoot. Those two teams have been at such high levels the last 1 or 2 seasons and everything. Will that quarterback play? Look at Dutton and Grebe that year. So it's a crapshoot.
And so now, and then the second game we have is the Orlando Predators at Tampa Bay Storm. So the war on I-4 takes place a half an hour later. And then we go onto the West Coast. We swing out here. And we got the Arizona Rattlers taking on the Portland Thunder in a conference rivalry. I was going to say division, but they screwed everything up with the rivalries and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's not conference. It's not division.
Well, it's considered conference now, but
it's 8 teams, so it is what it is.
And then we got on Saturday, we got the Jacksonville Sharks, the defending American Conference, at the revamped, revitalized LA Kiss. The LA Kiss with Nathan Stanley at QB, Omar Smith the head coach, Rodney Fritz as one of their linemen, defensive ends. And they got Donovan Morgan. Oh my God, who they got? Who else they got? They got Tyron Gord.
We don't even know where the SaberCat players are going.
Well, they got those players. Those are confirmed.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is you have no idea how many other players, because it seems like the place to go this year is LA.
Yeah.
Because, Omar Smith being on the coaching staff, being a long-time SaberCat, behind the scenes, he's scrambling to get anybody he can and everything. I would if I was. And he has those relationships established. I think LA might be the team to beat this year.
I have to agree.
I think LA and Arizona are the top two teams, but I think LA might have a slight edge over Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona's still good. I mean, you can't count them out. They got a great quarterback. They got great staff. You know, they have that base and everything. Yeah.
And you also got the return of Silas Burley to Arizona now.
Oh yeah. As a coach.
And I think a general manager too, or head of football operations.
Yeah.
You know, so who knows? And he's got his little feet wet with coaching Orlando.
I think that's going to be the new rivalry.
So yeah,
you're going to have LA and Arizona. They're so close.
6-hour drive.
4 hours, 6 hours. Yeah, 4 hours, 6 hours. Yeah.
So yeah, I know a lot of the Arizona's ninth man is already posting on Facebook. Okay, let's go. We got these 2 games that the Rattlers play in Anaheim. Let's go talk about our bus trips out there. So they're talking. So and as a feature of the Jacksonville Sharks to LA Kiss game, that's the game that Tom and I are going to go to for that week. So we're going to travel down to Anaheim on the week 1 game.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to go down there basically because we got the former SaberCat trio that's down there now, and whoever else they decide to pick up in the between now and the time the season starts. But we got friends there like Brian Fox, who has the fan club there. We're getting to know Joe Wyndham. He's a great guy, and sometimes it's just great fans. We also got some other fans that I know, like Justin Hayes on Facebook. He wants to know if we're coming up there. We're coming down there, and then you got David and his wife that sat next to us actually during last year's game of SaberCats and Kiss. And so, with that said and done, we're making good friends down there. And I've gotten to talk to even some of the LA Kiss girls, and they like the league. They like, they're good people and they're good ambassadors for the league. So, and you see them, I see their postings out. They're all over the place in the LA area, Anaheim, LA area, promoting, the Kiss brand for football wise, not the rock group, but the football Kiss brand. Yeah. At different local events. And I don't see that with too many of other teams besides maybe the Jacksonville Shark Dancers.
Yeah.
And I think Jacksonville Sharks and I think LA Kiss are probably the 2 most active AFL teams on social media, period. And that's where I think that the league needs to improve, and each team in their individual market needs to improve. And that's free. Social media is a free way to get your name out there.
That's an easy.
You may have all these followers, but utilize those followers.
You get one of the millenniums, the new generation kids involved. Throw them in as an intern.
College intern.
Yeah, college intern and stuff.
Marketing.
A lot of the big, even my company that I work for, it's like a large population is millennials. Because that's the new way of kind of driving everything.
Okay, so to continue on this 2016 session, now we're just going to go. That was just week 1. Our next episode, we'll go over week 2 when we think. But here's the week 2 lineup. Saturday, April 9th, Tampa Bay Storm at Cleveland Gladiators. Portland Thunder at Orlando Predators. Arizona Rattlers at Los Angeles Kiss. And then on Monday, April 11th, Jacksonville Sharks at Philadelphia Soul. Week 3, we got Friday, April 15th, Orlando Predators at Jacksonville Sharks. Saturday, April 16th, LA Kiss at Cleveland Gladiators, Tampa Bay Storm at Arizona Rattlers. And then Sunday, April 17th, Portland Thunder at Philadelphia Soul. Week 4, we got on Saturday, April 23rd, we got Cleveland Gladiators at Philadelphia Soul, Arizona Rattlers at Jacksonville Sharks, Los Angeles Kiss at Orlando Predators, with Portland and Tampa having byes. Week 5, we got Orlando Predators, Cleveland Gladiators, Portland Thunder, Arizona Rattlers, Jacksonville Sharks at Tampa Bay Storm, and Philadelphia Soul at LA Kiss. Week 6, Tampa Bay Storm at Philadelphia Soul, Jacksonville Sharks and Cleveland Gladiators, Arizona Rattlers at Orlando Predators, LA Kiss at Portland Thunder. Week 7, we got Portland Thunder at Cleveland Gladiators, Tampa Bay Storm at Orlando Predators, which is the continuum of the war on I-4, and the Arizona Rattlers at Philadelphia Soul. Open, Jacksonville Sharks, LA Kiss.
That'd be a good game to go to, Tampa Bay, Orlando.
Yeah, that would be a good game, but affording the cost to fly across country is kind of high, and then to get hotel and travel and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Week 8, Orlando Predators, Philadelphia Soul, Portland Thunder at Jacksonville Shark, Cleveland Gladiators at Tampa Bay Storm, and Los Angeles Kiss at Arizona Rattlers.
Different picture.
And that's gonna be our other road trip. LA Kiss at Arizona Rattlers on May 21st.
Yeah.
So Gary, if you know there, that's the drop hint. If you're still watching on Periscope, if not, we thank you for joining us. But yeah, Arizona Rattlers hosting the LA Kiss May 21st. Tom and I will be there. So Saturday, May 28th, Week 9, Philadelphia Soul, Cleveland Gladiators, Jacksonville Sharks, Orlando Predators, Portland Thunder, LA Kiss, Arizona Rattlers, Tampa Bay Storm. Week 10, Arizona Rattlers, Cleveland Gladiators, Philadelphia Soul, Jacksonville Sharks, Tampa Bay Storm, Portland Thunder, and Orlando Predators at LA Kiss. Week 11, Jacksonville Sharks, Tampa Bay Storm, LA Kiss at Soul, Cleveland Gladiators at Predators, Thunder at Rattlers. Week 12, Soul at Rattlers, Predators at Sharks, Kiss at Tampa Bay Storm, Gladiators at Thunder.
They're only playing 16 games this year.
13, Tampa Bay Storm, Predators, Gladiators, Sharks,
18,
Soul at Thunder, and Rattlers at LA Kiss. Week 14 is during July 4th. That week everybody has off. And then week 15, Gladiators at Soul, Sharks at Rattlers, Storm, Kiss, Predators at Thunder. Week 16, Predators at Rattlers, Soul at Storm, Gladiators at Kiss, Sharks at Thunder. Week 17, Gladiators at Rattlers, Thunder at Storm, Kiss at Sharks, Predators at Philadelphia Soul, week bye.
Wow.
In the final week, Storm at Sharks, Soul at Predators, Kiss at Thunder with Rattlers and Gladiators.
Then the playoffs begin.
And then the playoffs. And no schedule has been announced for the TV broadcasting yet. We will have that information on the Ninth Man Nation website. Also on the calendar page, right now I have the first 2 weeks up, but I'll have the entire schedule up on the Ninth Man Nation calendar as far as for future podcast dates. So that's where we're going. We discussed briefly the 2 games that Tom and I are going to. So we got that road trips. We have a plan to go to the Philadelphia Soul at Portland Thunder game too, and those will be our 3 regular season games, and then hopefully we can get to go to the Arena Bowl. So that's what we're working on. Now next week we will have during the off season our podcast schedule is going to be like every other week, and this particular podcast episode 2 was supposed to be done last week, but due to an illness we couldn't get together and do it. So we're doing it this week, and then next week we'll do our back to normal schedule. We'll have our 3rd episode next week, and next week we may have a surprise, guest. I'm going to actually try to get Steve Watson on. I've already communicated to him. He wants to be on. We just have to coincide with our schedules, as do like a lot of the other players I've talked to. We just have to work our schedules out and be availability. So it might be a different issue with as far as we're doing any kind of live stream on Periscope or on YouTube. We can go there, but I think we're going to be on Periscope. For a while.
Maybe Skype or something?
Yeah, Steve and I are going to probably Skype each other. Now, as far as for Tom and I, we might have to be in the same room because I haven't worked out group calls on Skype yet, and I don't want to take a chance of risking it, to have a 3-way calling. I'm able to record that audio.
We have to start at 3 hours in advance in case I have to drive frantically.
Didn't we do something like that at our job? 3-way conversation.
We did actually a 4-way, I think.
We could do a Google Hangouts, but I don't like the quality of video.
FaceTime.
Yeah. Oh, was it FaceTime?
Yeah. I don't like the quality of video for Google Hangouts, so that's choosy. So I would prefer to do a Skype. I have special software where I could capture the audio just right and the video quality and everything would be in 720p HD and everything will work out. But like I said, it all depends. We will have probably another fan, whether John comes back for another week or we'll have another fan and we'll have that on board and we'll talk about it. So as we're nailing the 2-hour mark, we made this into like a little mini movie.
Jeez. I thought we were going to do, what was the first episode?
36 minutes?
36 minutes. Apparently, we didn't have a whole lot to talk about back then.
Yeah, well, that was more of a welcoming kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to say for future episodes, we're going to actually try to be, like we said, this is a work in progress, like Tom said last week. This is still a work in progress, as we know we went over, and we went more like storytelling than we did when we were saying boom, 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 cut, and we didn't have anybody to say, hey, you got to cut, go to the next segment, go to the next segment.
Yeah.
So, and we got people that were watching a live stream that I'm sure are tired of watching us on video for 2 hours.
We look so pale, don't we?
Yeah. I mean, Gary Royale's not there anymore, I don't think. I know there's one viewer, but I don't know how that counts.
All right, viewer. Die hard. Appreciate it.
Unless that's us, watching us, because
Oh,
we log
really?
in. I don't know how that works.
You know what? Don't even tell me that. I want to think that there's somebody else watching us out there.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to put this Periscope video on our YouTube channel.
Oh, good. Okay.
So I'm going to try to get it, so that way we have exposure and get people to watch us. I know also Gary tried to invite people to come invite, which we
really?
appreciate Gary for that.
You saw that?
Yeah, I saw that.
Wow.
When you guys were talking, I looked over and said Gary invited friends.
I had no idea. Look at this. He has 3 eyes.
The guru.
Yeah.
What do you say about my third eye? So, anyways, okay, let's wrap this up.
All right.
We want to thank John for coming out this way.
Thanks, John.
45 minutes north.
Yeah, thanks for having
45?
me.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Santa Cruz to
You know what?
San Jose.
It's like at least the show is longer than your drive, so that's
I'm
good.
going back to the beach.
Oh man! Can you believe this guy?
Tom and I have some more things we have to work out and discuss and all that stuff and work on the computer here. But, we thank you, John, and hopefully we'll have you on some more shows.
Yeah.
Put some more
that's
calls on
good.
the commissioner.
That's
Spread
it.
some word about the Ninth Man Nation, and say, hey, we're on, and we want, and if you can, maybe even try and have Commissioner Butera to be on our show. Maybe he's there.
Just say you and him have been through war together. So maybe when two compadres, even though they're comrades and Yankees,
I bet
they
you
can kind of get together.
I bet you he would get on with you just to kind of recap what's
Like
going
I said
on.
our last episode, I've worked out with Steve Watson, so maybe we'll have him next week.
Yeah.
All depends on scheduling. I've always slightly hinted towards Anthony Heron that this was going to happen. I don't know if he's heard the first episode or not, or seen it. I'm sure he's seen some of my shares on Facebook, but I don't think he's realized that we're actually in progress of this going on right now, taking place. I want to have Anthony on too. So, and then also BJ Pickard, who was doing the AFL's version of their podcast, but has stopped for whatever reason. So they need to keep doing that and having that up, and then we'll have Jason Jones, Coffee House. He has his own podcast he does, and he works with Ron Jaworski. Then we can get Jaws on. That's going to be tough.
John or Ron?
Jaws.
Oh.
Yeah, Ron Jaworski. But in the meantime, Jason Jones, Coffee House, he has his own podcast. I've already reached out to him. He's a thumbs up to be on the show. It's all about the scheduling, and we're not in a hurry to get any of these people on the show. It's a step-by-step process that we're doing, and we want to make sure that when we get people on the show, especially of that kind of caliber, that we're doing it right and we have the right quality. I don't record phone calls, so if it's going to be anywhere that's you can't come here locally to us, like the way you did, and it's going to have to be through Skype, that's how it's going to be. Because Skype, I can see being only the best quality I can deal with. Yeah. As far as for the other end user, I have, of course, my microphone here that we record on. And it's a professional, blue microphone, high-end quality. That will sound my end on the Skype call. It would sound great. But now, as far as for the microphone that the other end user uses, I can't control that. That's up to them. So, but I could, we could try and make it. It'll be a better conversation than we did it like over Google Hangouts, or if we did it where I know some people, do phone calls. I don't know how to call and record phone calls. I don't have that software capability. So, and that would be scary if I did.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we're 3 minutes late, 2.5 minutes away from 2 hours even. So, thanks again, John, for coming up.
Thank you.
You're a SaberCats supporter for how many years now?
20 years.
20 years.
Man.
All right, man.
That says a lot, man.
I'm 15. Tom is 20 years also.
95?
So roughly 18, 19 years. Yeah, so we thank you for coming. This has been your second episode for the Nation Podcast. I'm Eric Thurow.
Tom Jones.
And Kahermanes, our guest. And we'll talk to you next time.
All right.
At our next episode next week. Talk to you later.
All right, thanks.